So traditional therapy, even a lot of coaching techniques that are out there, focus on changing behavior, focus on changing what you don't want to experience anymore. And I'm going to give a specific example. Traditional couples therapy, for example, will focus on, here's how you use loving communications, I statements, conflict resolution strategies. People will learn these things and they're like, oh, this is great. And then 6 months later, why the hell are we still having the same fights and problems we were having before? You're changing things at the surface level. Behavior is symptom. It is a symptom of a deeper problem or a deeper wound, of a program running. If you try to change it at the level of behavior, you will fail, period. It will always rear its ugly head in some other way or the same way again and again. So we don't use the loving communication to heal our wounds. That doesn't heal our wounds. We don't just meditate to try to make our relationship better. That does not change the programming that is causing the behavior to come out and show itself to begin with, right? So you want to heal, you start at the behavior because that's the easiest place to start. That's
you know it's there.
You know it's there. You can see that part. So we start with, so simply, what do you see? Well, how did you behave? What was the behavior? It's behavior program. And then we start to connect the dots of what other programs are running that are deeper. And we start to see over time, oh my God, I am running a mommy wound, for example. My inner child needs to heal a wound with my mother. And I'm projecting that onto my partner, and that's why this argument keeps coming up.
All this behavioral approach is the outcropping, really, of behavioral psychology.
Yes.
B.F. Skinner and people like that. And one of the ways they market it is they say, oh, worrying about your mommy and daddy wounds is unnecessary. You don't need to be in therapy for 10 years. And none of that stuff really matters. If you just do this, you'll be fine. And I listen to that and I go,
it's such a load of crap.
You know what goes through my head? There's a person who hasn't healed.
Exactly.
Selling a concept that they're completely blind to the inadequacies of because they're using just another allopathic concept of medicating the issue.
Yes.
It's kind of like if your dog has the tendency to bite people, you can tape its mouth shut.
Yep.
But you haven't really figured out why it likes to bite people. Like, was it wounded? Are the people it bites being abusive to it?
Right.
So the next thing you know is your dog starves to death.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
And so the behavioral psychology would say, look, you fixed the problem.
Yep.
Your dog's dead.
Exactly.
He doesn't bite anyone anymore.
Yeah. The very first part of this work is understanding how you were parented. Because while you do the work, it always comes full circle back to the ways in which you were parented. Why is that so important? Those are where your programs were created.
Yeah.
Period, end. Even if you had lovely parents who tried their very best, that's where they were created when you were young. Almost all of them. Reliving our childhood, we don't do that. That's ridiculous. Seeing where these programs came from because they're still running today is the real work. And then you can heal it. And you can heal it like this once you see all that.
I have an exercise that I do with people that's quite profound. I'll share it with you. It's for this type of work. I have them write down up to 4 positive and 4 negative comments about the experience of being their mother's child and the experience of being their father's child. And then I say, okay, now what I want you to do is write down the most common reasons people ended relationships with you, whether they be personal, intimate friendships, or you got fired from a job, or you hated your boss, and they said that they were kicking you out of the business because you show up late all the time, or you don't work well with people, whatever. So then I say, okay, now what I want you to do is look at the list of negative qualities for each of your mother and father and look at the reasons people left you in relationships. And almost every time, at least 50% of them, in other words, part of moms and part of dads, is in the list of why people leave them. And they look at that and some of them just crack up laughing and some of them start crying. And some of them are just sitting there in silence and shock because if I said to them, well, what is it? like when your mother's over controlling for you. They would say, oh my God, it drives me fucking crazy.
Right.
And then they don't even realize as they're writing it down, oh, I lost my first marriage because my wife said I was over controlling. And all of a sudden it dawns on them. They're like, oh my God, the shit I hate most about my parents is exactly what's gotten me in trouble in relationships. They never knew it till that moment.
Never know it. We can't see it. Those are the things in our blind spot.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of learning this work is you move through a process of seeing everything in your blind spot so that you can actually transform it at the root so it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, that's what most people want.
Yes.
They say they want to heal so that this isn't a part of who they are. Well, then learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Do the work because you can.